When you have your girls, you're never alone. You get together for coffee, maybe to work out, or just to laugh. We created Hey Girl, just for you. Can't wait for you to join us.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Hey Girl. I'm your girl Kim with an E, and this is episode 91. Guys, 91. You know what that means. We are in the full countdown to 100 at this moment, and I am so excited. Yes. And if you are just joining us, hey, come on in. This is a safe space where you can share your experiences and be affirmed. Let's face it, life can be complex and sometimes overwhelming. That's why we believe in the power of conversation, because knowing you're not alone is what will help you get through. So if you are here today, let me know, say hello in the comments, and get ready for a great show. By the way, be sure to hit that like button and share today's live with your friends. So, we've been talking about the vision this month. And if you want 2022 to be the best year yet, you need to stay with us today, because we're going to show you how you can attain those goals that you have set, or perhaps set some goals if you haven't done that yet. Listen, it's January. We're all thinking about the year ahead. So let's kick it off right. Let's put our best foot forward and make it the best year that we can make it. So when you hear the phrase, write the vision, I want to know, what does that mean to you? Tell me in the comments. When you hear write the vision, what does that mean to you? Because it means something a little different to everybody. It resonates in a different way for each of us. And I would love for you to share in the comments how it resonates for you. I really believe that writing literally is the best tool for clarifying our next steps. And I actually share some of those specific ways that writing can help you through your process, help you to gain the or attain the goals that you have set for yourself in my new book, Trust the Process. I am so excited that it is finally available to everyone. And I would love for you to pick up a copy, especially if this is something that is meaningful to you. The book is all about using writing, not just being a writer. And so understand that writing is actually a tool. And this book is geared towards those of you who have a desire to do more. How many of you want to do more in 2022? Say more in the comments. Writing can be the way to do that, honestly. And we're going to talk about that today also. And sometimes we find ourselves stuck. And what I will show you in this book is that writing can be the way to get unstuck. So be sure to pick up your copy. It's available on Amazon. You can get the ebook or the paperback. And if you do, share it with a friend, and do let me know if it benefits you this year. And of course, we always have the Hey Girl High Five. And, I haven't gotten any new small businesses out there to let me know that they are there. I see this trend on TikTok and Instagram with small businesses identifying themselves and putting their name out there. And we want to do the same for you and your small business. The businesses that are listed there on the screen are those that we know about, those that we support, and those that are doing good work. We're particularly interested in those businesses that are owned and operated by Blacks and minorities and women, those underrepresented groups. So if you have a favorite business that you support, or if you own a small business, send us the name and tell us what you do. heygirlfb@gmail.com is the way to reach out to us. And you can also go to the justkim.net website. We want all of you to do well. So the question on the table is, what does the phrase write the vision mean to you personally? That is our theme for today, and I'm excited to get into it with our guests. I also want to remind you before I get into that to pick up your coldest water water bottle. I'm drinking from that today. It keeps my water nice and cold. And we have a discount code for you if you're interested in picking up your own coldest water bottle. You can get 15% off if you put in the code capital ERY, capital E lowercase RY 1, and get your 15% off. And of course, can't forget the Hey Girl store. I'm also sipping from my favorite Hey Girl mug. And of course, we have some great products there for you to check out as well. So say hello in the comments. Tell me you're here. You guys are quiet on the chat. I know you're out there. Tell me in the comments how you are writing the vision this year and what that phrase, write the vision, means for you. You know, it's the theme for this month, but it's particularly the theme for today's conversation because my guest today is Elaine Kennedy. She's a wife and mother of two amazing boys. She is a vision mentor and currently working on her master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. She has a passion to help women achieve their goals and become clear about their vision. My Vision is Clear LLC is a goal achieving and mentoring company. She gives clients a unique experience to be creative, accountable, and inspired so that they can work towards their goals and bring their vision to fruition. Her motto is dream it, believe it, and make it happen. I love that. On her YouTube channel called My Vision is Clear Experiences, she and her special guests talk about all things vision, which is perfect because that's exactly what we're talking about today. So welcome, welcome, Elaine Kennedy to Hey Girl.
Hello,
Hey girl, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am great. You're looking fabulous. I love the red glasses.
Thank you.
They are stunning. I am thrilled to have you. And I see Sheldon, is that Sheldon Kennedy in the comments? So excited. Writing the vision. Yes, write the vision.
Yes, 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 yes.
And Julia Hawthorne. Hey, Julia, glad you're here. So awesome. I think it's so perfect that you are here because this is your jam, all things vision. And
Yes.
so, what a blessing to have you on here as we kick off the new year. This is a perfect time to talk about these types of things because everybody's kind of in that mode of wanting to get clear about their next steps and all of that. So,
Yeah.
glad that you are here to share with us. I want you to share all the things, but we're going to start from the beginning because everybody doesn't know you and I'm still getting to know you. So,
Okay.
first of all, tell us where you're from and about your family. You have a beautiful family.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on. This is an honor. I absolutely love what you're doing, and just to be a part of this is amazing. So, thank you so much for
Oh,
this opportunity. So yeah, Elaine Kennedy, originally from Brooklyn, New York. Also lived in Worcester, Massachusetts. So I always say I'm from the best of both worlds.
mm,
But I currently live in Maryland with my husband and two boys. And we've been here for about 15 years, going on 16 years. I literally came down here as soon as we got married. I left New York and came right down here to Maryland. We've been here ever since, loving
mhm.
it, and having our family. When I say our family, I love my in-laws, brother and sister-in-law, my mother and father-in-law. So it's just been a good family affair, and it's been an
Nice.
awesome time so far.
Good, good, good. And so, what kind of work, prior to the work you're currently doing, what kind of work did you do?
Yeah. So before I got the vision to do this, uh, I was working as a paralegal uh, for a law firm, many law firms. As a matter of fact, that is what I just knew I was going to be, was an attorney. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had been doing that for years. And I was like, I'm going to help my people. I'm going to go to law school. I'm going to do this, that, and the next. And that was, I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I was going to law school and going to be an attorney. So
Okay.
I had Yeah, I've been in that a long, long time.
Okay, so of course that begs the question, what changed? Something changed. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
was like, people ask me that, they're like, what happened? I'm like, it's the Lord, it's God, because literally, I just stopped having a love for it. I became
Mm,
really unhappy doing something that I just knew I was going to do. And it was so strange. And I am one to be very comfortable in what I do and just kind of stick with that and sometimes not venture out. And so
mhm,
being unhappy in that space took years for me to really recognize and
mhm,
look into what it was that God had for me. Um, so I think it was just, I mean, literally just miserable. Usually I can suck it up
yeah.
and, go do what I
Huh.
got to do. But it
Yeah.
was like, mm-mm, I couldn't suck up anything else. It was, it was just
Wow.
bad. Yeah.
So
Um,
so was it,
yeah.
oh, did it kind of, what did you, were you loving it at first and then it eventually got bad, or did you jump into it and from the beginning go, huh, this doesn't feel as good as I thought it was gonna feel?
No, when I first started this, just getting into law, I was loving it. I just knew what I was going to
Okay.
do. I knew the type
Yeah.
of attorney I was going to be and who I was going to help and all of that. And
Yeah.
then, you're getting into it, you dip into different fields of it.
Mhm.
And I was working a lot in criminal law and working a lot in personal injury. And by the
Mhm.
time I moved to Maryland, I had the
Mhm.
opportunity to work in family law. And I think
Mhm.
that is when I kind of had a shift, but wasn't really acknowledging it. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I would have clients that would come to me and I would help them with their cases, all that paperwork and stuff like that. But they would also just confide in me and ask me for direction as far as what can they do after, you know,
Mhm.
you know, the divorce or the custody battles and all those different
Mhm.
things that can be very heavy emotionally on a person. Um, and how they can just kind of start over, as a single mom
Mhm.
or dad in many cases. And so
Mhm.
my heart was just like, man, that's a good question because in this position,
Mm.
do is help you with your case. But I really
Yeah.
could not do anything else after that. Like, you're going
Mhm.
on with your life. And I really, really felt bad about that. And so I was starting to look into different fields of law to see how can I help a client
Mm.
after nothing. There's nothing you can do. There's
Got
nothing like
you.
that.
So there was a bit of a disconnect about the level of help because you were thinking, oh, I want to do law because I can help people. But then you got into it and realized, oh, there's limits to how much I can help them.
Right, right. And I
Yeah.
felt in myself there was more. You know how you know it's more, but you're
Mm.
just not quite sure what that is, but you can feel that thing.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
was, yeah, and I was like, I gotta look. And so, I mean, when I tell you I got it, but I didn't move on it. A lot of times we think we get the
Mhm.
feeling, we may see the vision, and we move on it right away. But that was not the
Yeah.
case for me.
Yeah,
It
I
took
think
years.
that's quite, I think that's quite common, right?
Yeah,
Because you're thinking, oh, I got my path, I'm doing my thing. And then, particularly if it's something everyone approves of, law is a good field, right? So if you get into it and you go, oh, wait, I don't know, you have all those doubts, like, what will people say? And, am I crazy to walk away from this? So
yeah.
whatever little voice you may hear is also drowned out by the other voices that tell you, girl, just relax, just keep going.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you're right. Like, I felt the pressure to stay in something that my family approved of, that was a
Mhm.
consistent paycheck,
Yep.
right, that I was good at, you know what I mean? And so it was like, what's
Yeah.
the problem?
Right. Yeah.
You
I mean,
gotta get
yeah.
together.
I mean, to when we talk about writing the vision, you're talking about being courageous because you're having
Yeah,
to step out in faith. Usually,
yes.
when you're talking about that vision, it's something that has not yet come to be. It's just a
Oh,
thought, it's an idea. And it
yes.
takes courage to step out and do it.
Yes, and that's one of the barriers that many of us have, right? Is that confidence
Yeah.
and that courage
Mhm.
to be able to just accept the fact that you might just be the only person that's voting for yourself to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, your
Yes.
family may not approve, your friends may not approve, and it might
Right.
just only be you. And can you handle that? You know, can you
Yeah.
handle that? Because it's
So
a
let's
lot.
sit there for a minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's sit there for a minute because how important is it for people to approve of your decisions? I mean,
Let me take
we sometimes say, "Oh, I don't care what people think," but
right. That's a thing it's a protective defense mechanism that sounds good and it sounds strong. And yeah, sure,
right,
you want to put yourself up and say, I don't need nobody. Okay. But when you come off of that and you come into reality, you really have to understand that you can't do this alone. You cannot do this
right.
alone. You need the help and you need the support of someone.
So yeah, okay. So let's complicate that a little more though, because you said a minute ago, sometimes you have to step out and be the only one on your team, but yet you can't do it alone, right?
Mhm.
So like, and then also, where does it come in, the wise counsel and listening to others who have a different perspective? So how, to balance those others that we may need or maybe don't need, like figuring that out also is kind of hard when you're stepping out and doing something that is
Yeah.
not, the norm or whatever.
Mhm. So, one of the things that I have discovered is that to have the support is not so much that I need your approval to like what it is that I'm doing. I just need your support. So, in other words,
Mhm.
you know how sometimes they have the words that, you don't have to like me, but you have to respect me type of mindset.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
me, it's I need to be comfortable with the fact that I had this team of 10, let's say, that was supporting
yeah.
me on my way to go to law school. And now
Mhm.
maybe 2, maybe 1. Elaine, you got this, I'm with you. Or maybe none, right? And I have to, like, put that in my head. Plus, it's not an easy thing because
Yeah,
that's disappointing to know that you don't have that support and they can't understand where you're coming from and so but the reality is that people are not going to always understand, and you have to be
yeah,
okay with that. And once you're
yeah.
okay with it, then you're able to get out of the mindset that I don't need nobody because God is going to send you the people and the resources to
Mhm.
be able to support your vision, your dream, your goals.
Mhm.
You can't stay stuck in the place of I don't need nobody because that's going to ice what God has for you and the
Mhm.
people that God has for you to make sure that this vision comes to fruition. So it's important
Mhm.
that one, we have to be able to say we're good. We're good with it
Mhm.
though we're not getting the support that we really would desperately need.
Mhm.
God help us to endure because that's not an easy
Mhm.
process. But don't let
Yeah,
the mindset of I have to have their support in order to move forward keep you because that can be a barrier to your process. So being able to assess that is important.
yeah. Right. So let's talk about you in that moment when you're doing the paralegal thing and the law thing and you're feeling that tug that this isn't it, but you said you didn't move right away. How long did it take and what got you to the place where you were finally ready to make a change?
So I had the feeling when I had my first child, so that was 2009. I
Mhm.
didn't move on it until I was pregnant with my second child, which was, let's say, around 2012. I had him in 2013. So
Mhm.
I kind of sat with it. I talked to my husband
Mhm.
about it, of course, and my
Mhm.
husband was always supportive of it. But
Mhm.
because I also valued the opinion of my mom and my sister and close friends and financially we were like we don't know if we could do that move right now.
Mhm.
Those
Mhm.
type of things put into, and then we were getting ready to have a second child. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know. I just was not trusting what God had given me enough to know that He was going to take care of me. So
Uh-huh.
I was overthinking things, and the more I was overthinking things, the more I stayed stuck in
Mm.
something that I was happy doing. So
Mhm.
it's not really till yeah, till 2013 that I was like, I really do not like this job. I said I almost hate it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when you hate something, it's like that takes everything in you. And I hated
Yeah.
that feeling. But
Yeah.
it's but I had to make a decision, which of course did not come till later on because now I've had my kids, and now my
Mhm.
kid at this point is like what, 6, 7
Mhm.
years old. And
Mhm.
I have still not done anything, okay? Still sitting on this dream, still, questioning God and all this, and still listening
Mhm.
to family who at the
Mm.
time was like, "What do you mean? Like, you're already in
Right.
this. Hard for you to get
Yeah.
another job in this new thing." Like, hearing all of the noise is really
Mhm.
what was keeping me from moving
Yeah.
forward. So it took a minute. It really did.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very understandable. Um, I think also the traditional wisdom has been when it comes to profession and work and career, you just do the job. You do the job that pays. You don't always love it, but you go to work every day. Our parents and the grandparents generation, you just go to work. I think Michelle Obama shared in her book Becoming that she was, telling her mother, she didn't like what she was doing. She was a lawyer and making all this money, and her mom was like, "What does your emotions have to do with it? Like, get over yourself. Go to work."
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Yeah. So we're working against that mindset too. And what I want to know from you, and I'm assuming I know the answer is that true? Because emotion is a thing we can sometimes act on and it's not a good idea. But
Mhm.
but right? Like
Yeah,
talk about the emotion. We don't like to eat our vegetables, but they're good for us, So
you're right.
so we got to figure out, whether we're making a good decision or not when we are having those kinds of emotions.
Yeah. So, I'm sure you've heard this phrase where it says feelings are not facts, right? We
Right.
go up, we
Yeah.
go down, all of these things. And so I always say that if this feeling is sitting in you longer than two
Mm.
weeks, a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and
Mhm.
it's beginning to just cloud your judgment in a sense where all you can think about is this
Mm.
thing,
Mm.
then
Mhm.
a little deeper than just a feeling, right?
Yes.
It is
That's
a purpose, right?
yeah.
And
Mhm.
and to be able to identify that the feeling doesn't just go away, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It sits in your soul to a point where it shakes you, and you're
Yeah.
just unhappy until you get to do that thing. And so I think that people have to be able to identify that because that is a big difference between just a
Yeah.
feeling, I don't feel like it, and
Right.
this is what's for me. Like this is really killing me slowly. Like this
Yeah.
is just, you know?
Yes, I think that's so important. I think that statement you just made is absolutely what we all need to keep in mind because I know all of us have reached that point or been conflicted in a moment where it's like, oh, is this a good decision or is it just my emotions? But yes, you're right. Emotions are fleeting, right? So if it's lasting for a year or more, it's deeper than that. And
Yeah.
it could be the pull, the call of God. And that's another thing too that I know people sometimes go, oh, I hear people talk about God's voice and the God told me such and such, but some of us are like, I haven't heard that voice, how do I know whether it's God or indigestion? You know what I'm saying? So how did you distinguish that it was God calling you to do something versus, just something in your head.
Well, it was just a nagging thing. And I'm the type of person that likes to just deal with it and get it out of here. So if it was something that was just nagging me and nagging me, like, all right, I will entertain it. Let me go find out what this is about. And so
Mm-hmm.
I literally was just surfing online, and I don't like to say it came to me. I always say God told me to put in therapist for marriage,
Mm.
as a matter of fact. And then
Okay.
I actually, it was marriage and family. And I put it in the Google, and this program came up, this program from this university. And I started to dig deeper, and I went in there and I started reading. Kim, when I tell you I had chills to the point where I
Mhm.
shut it off, like I just closed my computer. I was like, this is scary. That has never
Wow.
happened.
It was
Never.
resonating with you.
It was really resonating to the point where I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is way too close.
Wow.
Uh-uh. I can't take
Wow.
it." So I literally
Yeah.
put it away for another 6 months. Like I just it felt different. I had never felt that before. And I was like, "Yeah,
Wow.
this is different." So for
That's
me, that
something.
was,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that was the thing that said, "Elaine, this is not something you're just, thinking about, or it's just by a feeling. This is something that's a
Mhm.
little deeper, and you need to get real about this and what that is and dig deeper." And so when I started to, I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I can't take all this right now. I got all these other things going on here, and I need to focus on that." And so, I prayed about it. I prayed and I asked God, I was like, "If this is what you want me to do, let it make sense for me, because I'm very a
Mhm.
logical thinker. It has to make sense for me to, like, really accept things, the Lord
Yeah.
dealing with.
Yeah.
uh, and so I prayed through it, and even as I was praying through it and God was sending people to me. He was there would be messages I hear at church. There's people I haven't heard from in a long time asking me about certain things that would pertain to therapy, or
Mm. Mhm.
all these. I'm like,
Yeah.
still, but not moving on it. But he was still working on me to convince me that
Yes.
this was what I could do.
So I was gonna say, I'm so glad you said that because that's exactly what I was thinking. God has a way of talking to us. So I'm one of those people who's like, oh, I've never heard the audible voice. I've heard people say, oh, I heard God say in an audible voice. But I have heard him through, the minister saying the exact phrase or sentence that I was thinking, or a song
Yes.
coming on and that very message being, relevant to something I was thinking about. Reading something that was exactly to me. Has anybody? Yes,
Yes.
Lisa, right? Have you all had that happen? I mean, it's whoa, you're looking around like, whoa, whoa, how is that? That's not coincidence. That is God. Let me just tell you. So that's clearly what was happening. Yeah, you were getting those messages. Wow. Okay. So what was God telling you to do on all of those messages? What did you hear him saying your next step needed to be?
Literally write it down. And
Ah.
he was telling me to write down what it is that you see. I'm a visual learner.
Mhm.
See, if you're describing someone or something to me, I'm always going to say what they look like. What did that look
Yeah.
like? Because I have to get a visual so it all
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Uh-huh.
And so I started journaling, and I hadn't done that in a very long
Mhm.
time. And so I just started writing things in, like, bullet points as to what I was seeing, and what I wanted to do, and what I wanted just to look like, what I wanted
Yeah.
people to feel. All of these things were just coming to me, and I would just put it away. I
Yeah.
would write it down, put it away, and then maybe I'll go back to it maybe 2 or 3 days later, and some more
Mhm.
information kind of pour out of
Mhm.
me. And I
Mhm.
can remember being in church, and the pastor said something in reference to, claiming, what you want for your future and so on and so forth, and to put it on an
Mhm.
index. card and pray
Mm-hmm.
over it. And this was
Okay.
back in 2015. And I remember one of the things I put on there was he was saying to claim it. So I was saying, I am going to be a professional licensed counselor. And
Okay.
I look back at that. I still have that index card. I look back at that and I said to myself, now as of next month, that is what's going to happen. But the reason it
Ooh.
took so long was because I was not trusting. I did not,
Mm.
move forward on it. But I just found it was so powerful to write
Yes.
it down because it
Yeah.
keeps accountable to a certain extent, you know what I mean? Like, you're writing
Yes.
this down, claiming this, and so how are we gonna make this happen, you know? So it was
Right.
the writing that started for me, for sure.
Yeah. Powerful. I'm telling you, writing is the key. You write it down and it makes it real. Like it brings it out of your head into the world. And like you said, then you're accountable to it. And
Yeah.
also you can then see how it becomes prophecy. It becomes a prophetic word to yourself.
Right. It's
Yeah.
amazing to
Yes.
watch and see and follow and
Hmm.
obey. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. That takes a
Hmm.
while to get there for many of us, I'm still working on it, but
Yeah.
obeying is amazing because, you know, for me, and maybe many people can relate to this, when God gives you your vision, sometimes he don't give it all to you. He'll give it to you in
Yes.
pieces. So he wants you to
Uh-huh.
just take this in, right? But
Yeah.
the vision is just going to evolve into something that we didn't even think of. But he's
Oh
like, you know
man.
what? All that. Let me give you this bit right here so we can soak that in and work on that.
Yeah. Yes. He's so
Amazing.
patient with us. He's so patient
Yes.
with us. He remembers that we are dust. And he gives us what we can handle. Yeah, because the Bible says he has so much more for us than
Mhm.
than we can even ask or imagine. And how many of us are not claiming that? How many of us are afraid to walk in that? We're so busy
Mhm.
looking at it from what's possible in our own eyes that we're not giving him the credit for what he can do beyond human ability.
It's like
Oh
it's
man.
almost like shame on us, but that's just a
Yeah,
human part of it, you know what I mean? That we
right.
all struggle with, and we don't like to fail. We don't like to, go through the journey of the ups
Yep.
and the downs and having to start over, and that's
Yeah.
all fair. But when you get on the other side, woo, it's a
Yeah.
blessing.
Yes. So you finally wrote the vision and made it plain
Yes.
and took the courageous step of doing the thing. And so tell us what the thing was that you did and that you started and what did it take to make it happen?
So I always had a love for vision boards, and not even to make like the accountability part of it, just putting on a board that I'm going to do this, I'm going to have this house, it's going to look pretty like this, I'm going to, like, it's a
Mhm.
whole new world that I've just said I'm going to do for myself
Mhm.
or with my family or whoever. And so I would have vision board parties with some of my girlfriends. I would, do some stuff with my kids, just to kind of make it a activity thing. And
Mhm.
what was happening was I would have some of my friends kind of just want more from that. So,
Mhm.
yes, we have what we want on this board, but now what? How
Right.
do we make this happen? How do we, make each other accountable? What do we need to do from
Yeah.
here? And I was like,
Mhm.
you know what? You're right. So initially I would just start with like, let's have like a little prayer group and we'll check in with each other and do all this. And then that didn't really stick. And
Mhm.
so I kind of just put it to the side. And then I would have like just individual people just kind of call me for advice on like the situations where they were looking for a new job or they got newly divorced and they're kind of stuck and they don't know how to move forward. And
Mhm.
as I was, my husband was like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. I was like, oh no. I but I was like, "Mm." And so I literally was sitting in bed and just writing, and, God literally said to me, "Write, my vision is clear." And
uh,
it was so like it was just like I said my name, you know? It was just like it was just right, because not only was that something that I personally had gone through, like I knew that I needed a process in order to see that my vision was clear. But I know that a
mm,
lot of women, a lot of people need that same clarification, but just don't know how to go about getting that. And so
yeah.
for me, it was started off as a fun thing. And then I was like, let's make this intentional because this is being impactful. And then I would
Hmm.
hear stories, testimonies about friends that things were coming to fruition from their vision board. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm,
this is working. Okay.
yeah.
Maybe move forward with this. So literally, it was just from people's experiences with me, from me just doing a fun thing. And I was like, well, let me see what God's going to do with this. And that's how it happened.
Nice. I want to say hello to John Nixon, who's in the comments commenting. Hey. And I also want to affirm your husband. Can we just affirm your husband for saying, do this
Yeah.
thing? Like, that is such a blessing because I know some of us, not me, but some people may have spouses who aren't so sure about that calling or taking that step of courage outside of the box. And what a blessing to have the person who's the closest to you saying, go for it.
Yes. My husband has always, I don't know a time where he has not encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone. Like he will, appease me and, give me room to let me be stubborn and stay in my comfort zone. But then he's like, stop playing. This is what you do. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'll help whatever you need. Like, I got you. And to have
Awesome.
that was a huge blessing, because
Hmm.
I was afraid. I was like, "Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. How this is you talking about being an entrepreneur. I'm used to my
Yeah.
2 week and W-2s and
Yeah.
all of that. I'm used to, so you're telling me to take a leap of faith?
Yeah.
Oh, oh. And
Yeah. Praise
he really is
God.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So shout out to Sheldon for being a good husband, and shout out
Thank
to
you.
all the husbands who encourage their wives to not just follow their dreams, but to follow God's calling. And I think that's the key. If they recognize it as God's calling and not just a whim, I
Yeah.
think that, if you have a godly husband, he will be in tune with what God's will is. So praise God for godly husbands.
I'm telling you, because it's funny you say that, because I I I believe that God told him before he told me. Because when I
Uh,
said it to my husband, he was like, "Yeah,"
mm,
as if,
mm,
"Of course. What do you mean?"
mm,
Like, no question.
uh-huh.
He was very sure, and he was just like, "I'm waiting." I'm just like, "I'm waiting for you. So,
Wow.
let's do this." So yeah,
Wow.
it's it's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. So tell us then now what is my vision is clear? What all does it entail? What services you offer, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So my vision is clear is a business that is, I like to call it my ministry as well, that
Mhm.
helps people to be able to align their goals, align their core values, align their vision, and make it plain. Like, just make sense of what it is that you are seeing, that you are feeling. How do we get this
Mm,
thing going? And so
mhm,
I really am your cheerleader. I'm really just saying, listen,
mhm,
let's take this step. Let's do these in pieces. Let's talk about some of the reasons why this didn't happen. Let's work
mhm,
on those, see how we can get that to go. And then we'll see what God does with the rest of it.
mhm.
Because I'm very
So you
intentional.
partner with them basically.
Yes, it's just a part. It's like I am rooting for you because I don't believe that we don't already know, right? I'm just here to remind
Mm,
you and probably show
mhm,
you different ways of how you can do it, so it's less complicated or overwhelming because my process took a while. I didn't have someone to direct me and guide me and say, this, do this. So I feel like I
Mhm.
want to help the next person be able to
Yeah.
be very clear about their steps and also to realize, to wonder, it's a question, if I do this, am I ready to do this? Is it this something I really
Mhm.
want to? Because when you go through that,
Mhm.
you ask yourself that question because there will be the highs and there will be the lows. And are you
Mhm.
ready for time? And so I'm just there to kind of help you through that process.
Nice. Julia is saying, what is your website? It's very simple. My vision is clear, right?
I was just yes, it's very simple. I'm a simple girl, y'all. I keep it very simple. Everything is very simple for me. Yes, my vision is clear all the way around.
Awesome. I love that. It makes it simple for all of us.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what are some of the tools or techniques or strategies that you offer individuals who come to you? If we have those in the audience who are listening right now and they're thinking, yeah, I'm stuck or I'm not sure or whatever, like what are some things that you suggest to people to do um, when they're trying to figure out their next step?
So I always have them take a moment to reflect back on some of the things that they have done or some of the things that they wanted to do, so that they can at first see that they can accomplish this and that they have done it,
Mhm,
or if they had difficulty, why was that the case? So we always start with a reflection, and
mhm,
then we move forward with, what is it that you want to do? Like if I say I want to sell shirts, you're coming to me and telling
mhm,
me I want to. We'll talk about what type of shirts, who do you want to sell it to, why,
mhm,
we'll talk it down. We'll break it down so
mhm,
that we can get to the core of your why. For me, I
mhm,
really, with not just myself, but with many of my clients, a lot of the times as to why we don't move forward or complete our tasks when we're doing our goals is because we don't go back to our why, because we're not clear on the why, you know?
mhm,
And the
mhm,
is always going to remind you as to why you're doing this. It's going to be a motivational piece, right? Or not.
mhm,
Be able
mhm,
to know what it is so you can go back and check on that. So I really dig deep a little bit in talking about the why and the
mhm,
potential barriers that may
mhm,
or have up in you not
mhm,
accomplishing these, right? So we get to that
mhm,
first, even before we get to the whole creative part of vision board. We talk about those things. We put down the goals. We talk about who the support group would be, right? Who's going to
mhm,
support you in this process, and
mhm,
then get down to, okay, what are the steps are we going to take in bits? How we're going to do this? So I make sure I keep like I said, I'm always checking in. So if you sign up and it's like a 3-month process or 6-month process, that's what we'll do. I'll check in weekly or bi-weekly, whatever it is, because I'm here to help
mhm,
you and try to get through those things. And that is pretty much the things that the foundation of where I
mhm,
start before we even get
mhm,
to the board. Because one of the things
mhm,
that I think is a little frustrating for people is if you say, "Oh, I have goals and I want to put on my board." What goals?
mhm,
You picking random stuff. So I always say to them,
mhm,
let's be very specific. And I
mhm,
say pick 3 to 4, 3 to 4 goals that you
mm,
want to. Let's not do the whole 6, 5, 10. Let's
mhm,
not do that because that becomes very
mhm.
overwhelming. So let's start with
Yeah.
3 to 4 and let's see if these are attainable. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
if these are realistic goals for you. So we talk through all those things and then we get to what I like to call the fun part of just kind of like going through and cutting, or in this place now we're doing virtual as well, so we
Right.
add that as well. But yeah, it's I try to make it an experience because I want it to be intentional, right?
Mhm.
Understand the power of writing things down and putting it on a
Mhm.
board and doing that thing every day to remind you that this is what you're going for. This is your purpose. You're going to accomplish this
Mhm.
goal. Got this. Yes, there's going to be some down times, but let's go back to your why. Let's go and
Mm.
hit all your accountabilities. It's an experience, and it's a process, and it's very intentional. So yeah.
Yeah. And I know that you encounter individuals who are battling with fear and doubt. How do you advise those of us who struggle with that? We may have a vision, we may have ideas, we may have desires and dreams and goals, but we're always questioning ourselves, we're always doubting ourselves. What do you say to them?
Well, see, that's where the therapist comes out a little bit, right? We have to dig a little deeper because at this point, if this fear or this barrier is causing you to stop or not move forward, we have to
Hmm.
examine that a little bit. Sometimes
Hmm.
the barrier, what I like to call it, may not be as deep as you think it is, right? Once you break
Hmm.
it down, try to figure
Hmm.
out what that thing is that's keeping you from moving forward. And if it is
Hmm.
something that deep, then let's try to go underneath that when you're ready. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of my clients will talk about things, will even have stuff on the board, but it'll just stay
Hmm.
on there. They're not ready to actually go with the process. They're just not ready. That fear
Hmm.
or whatever it is really keeping them. And so we take our time with it. It's not a rush. It's
Hmm.
not a rush. I know we
Hmm.
like to put deadlines on ourselves, but it's really not a rush because when you are going through a process, it's going to really make you dig through some stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's going to
Hmm.
deliver some stuff. You're going to get delivered from some stuff because you're really
Hmm.
in. So it's
Yeah.
a process. It's a process. Really, we take our time with it at your speed. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
no, it's
For some reason, I just got a picture in my mind, and you're gonna be like, "What?" But when I think about the story of Jesus, take casting out a demon from I can't remember which story it was, but I remember that the demons flung the man around first, or threw the man, the boy or the man, I can't remember which one it was, on the ground, and he wrestled around a bit, and then it went away, and the man was there, kind of just on the
yeah,
ground still. But I feel
yeah,
like that throwing over, when you're wrestling with your demons, that's the process, right? It's painful, you're on the ground, you're fighting through it, but
mm,
then it passes, and you're free from it. But it doesn't come, you don't get free without that struggle first. And
absolutely.
maybe that's the hard part, that some of us don't want to we don't want to go through that part.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. If
yeah,
you knew that you were going to go through that thing, we wouldn't
yeah,
do it, right?
right.
But the whole point
Mhm.
is that I don't ever come off like you're not going to hit some tough times. You are.
Yeah.
What we're going
Mhm.
to do is prepare you for that by
Yeah.
addressing some of those things from the beginning, right? So
Mhm.
we know this is a tough one here, and this is going to probably
Yeah.
keep me down a little bit. How do I try to get out of that? Because I'm aware of it. So how do I
Yeah.
try to work to make sure that that doesn't stop me from accomplishing this goal? Because that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's our barriers. They can paralyze us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very true. Man, this is so good, Elaine. I think that it's such a blessing that our paths have crossed, and I'm so happy that you were courageous enough to step away from the 9 to 5, and you write your vision and walk in that plan and purpose that God obviously had for you. And before we have to say goodbye to you, do you have any final words, things that you want to share? You've shared so much, but is there anything else before we have to say goodbye?
It was actually something that I guess I'll call him Pastor John Nixon,
Yes.
said in an interview I did to him. And I'm paraphrasing here, but it's to say that, write the vision, but don't be so rigid that you don't allow God to be a part of your process, right? And to really
Mm,
take you to places that you could not even imagine, right?
Mhm.
It's a thing to definitely write your things down, have your structure and all that, but leave room for God to
Mhm.
come and guide you and prepare you for that purpose in your life because it will
Yeah.
be amazing.
Yeah. I love that. So good. So
That's
good.
what
April
I
said this is so good.
said.
You said what?
I said when I heard him say that, I was like, "That's so good! Oh my gosh!" Because
Yes.
it really spoke to me, because it's true. You know, for people who are very, um, you know, personality and structured, it can be hard to like let go of that control, right? Which
Yeah.
is why we stay in our valley for so long. But once we allow God to just really uproot us and do His thing,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the thing though? Isn't that why we don't step away from the 9 to 5 job? Because we can control that. We know we're familiar with that. That's in our power. But to step
Yes.
outside of that is to relinquish that power and let God take over. And that's what's scary.
And
Yeah.
what we don't realize is how much we are limiting ourselves by
Yeah.
being in control, right? We
Yep.
have to be able to relinquish that because we're limiting ourselves and where we're supposed to be. So, yeah.
That's a word for all of us.
Yeah.
That is a word for all of us. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. It has definitely been a blessing, and everyone knows where to find you. My vision is clear. That's the name you put in for the website, for Instagram, for all her social media, and to make contact with her if you would like to. Take advantage of the services that she offers. And I want to go to our scripture for today, which is perfect for this conversation. Of course, it comes from Habakkuk, 2, 2, and 3. And it says, write the vision and make it plain on tablets that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Oh man, is that a word for you today? Write the vision, make it plain. And even if it tarries, even if it seems as though it's not coming to pass or it's not going easily, the Bible says to stay with it, to trust that it will come to pass, that God does have something for you and for your future if you just trust Him. Be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. This is 2022, January, the beginning of a new year, perhaps the beginning of a new period, a new chapter in your life. But it will only come to pass if you write the vision, make it plain, and trust God as you walk it out. That is my wish for you today. And I trust that you will allow God to guide you. I'm so glad we were able to have this conversation today. I'm so glad you were able to join me today. And I want to continue this conversation next week. I've been having so much fun with this theme. And next week, we have a final guest, two guests actually, to talk about it. Some more of my loves, my family. Paul and Claire Nixon will be here to talk about their new book. And they themselves are writers and also visionaries, and they're going to share with us what they have learned through their own process. And then, oh my goodness, we are already at the end of January, and I'm looking ahead to the month of February. Guys, the theme for February is Black Girl Magic. Okay, are you here for it? I'm going to have some powerhouses on with us to talk about how they have walked out their own vision and they are making things happen. So they're going to inspire us as well. Listen, we've got great things in store and we are counting down to the 100th episode of Hey Girl. I'm looking forward to you being here with me every step of the way. All right, guys, until next time, be blessed and I'll see you soon.
Happy New Year! Are you ready to write the vision? Be sure to join me all month as my guests, Toya Poplar, Kat Lee, Elaine Kennedy, Claire and Paul Nixon show us how to start the year with clear purpose and vision. Join us Saturdays at 5 on Facebook Live.